1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Testing, testing. I sometimes put rocks inside the blimp if my boom up's being a nightmare. Just make it a bit heavier. You don't want to make it too easy. Hi, I'm Tom Williams. I've been in the industry now for 22 years, thereabouts. And I've worked as a boom operator for many years as a documentary recordist, and I now work as a production sound mixer for film and TV. And I want to tell you a few things about boom mics. So the absolutely fantastic thing about the DPA range of microphones is that, so here I've got a 4018 and a 4017, C preamp, B preamp. Because they're modular, I can literally swap these around, or I can put these on a different cable. There's just so much. There's so much flexibility with the design. I tend to use the B preamp for. I tend to keep them in my blimps the whole time, pretty much. Just having that flexibility of being able to knock the bass out if it's very high wind, or maybe you don't want to put a high wind cover on your blimp. You want to kind of keep it a bit more bare, and it's just a very quick way of just knocking a bit of rumble out. The C preamp I tend to use more on my interior mics on my 4018s, but then I also have a 4017 that lives on a C preamp the whole time, just because it's a much more compact design and being able to, to get it into smaller spaces. This is the absolute daddy of capsules. It sounds beautiful, and it's in an enclosed space inside a car or in a small room or wherever it might be. This is absolutely mint. Sometimes I need to get that right up to the ceiling, or I need to kind of put it in behind a sun visor in a car, something like that. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of the C preamp, and I'll use one of these guys, which is called an MMP GS, and it's essentially like a sideways cable that allows me to screw the capsule on. So I've got this thing here, which is with this side address cable on, that's just over an inch long, absolutely dinky. And whereas before you might have to have, an XLR cable, then a power supply for Phantom, and then you're having to plug into a transmitter, and you've got this kind of big bundle of cables. This can just simply run out on a thin cable, and then on the other end you've got the microdot adapter. So I can put an adapter on there which suits my transmitter, plug straight into my transmitter. So it's the most simple stripped back plant mic you can get, really. It's a high risk job. You're swinging microphones around above actors and in situations where you're having to your spatial awareness and three-dimensional sort of understanding of a set is hugely important. When I was booming, it would be a much heavier microphone than now. I mean, these DPAs don't weigh anything at all. It's like a feather, which is great. Every single gram that you save means that their attention and their focus is going to be that much sharper and that much kind of more honed at that particular moment. Maybe 30 seconds into the 10th take, and the director's going, oh yeah, I just want to shoot one more take. Can we just keep rolling? And the boom op's there, and they're just kind of like. So having a slightly wider pickup pattern on a capsule, when you're in quite close in an interior, which is a good sounding room, what it allows you to do is it allows you to drift the microphone on the boom rather than swing the microphone. Whereas a lot of the time, if you have a very directional mic, like an interference tube design, then you kind of have to be much more bang on with your mic cues, and so your boom up really needs to they're having to preempt the beginning of the first syllable, especially actually if you're dealing with like ad-lib dialogue and stuff like that, where you're having to be very reactive as a boom op. You're not necessarily sticking to a script. You're kind of watching the person that's not speaking, waiting to kind of see them start to speak to know to get to them. And then when you have a microphone with a wider pickup pattern like a 4018, which also has the suck to be able to be slightly further back, it means that for an interior mic, you can kind of take this and guarantee you stick it on the pole and it's going to sound great. Combining lavs and booms together is where you find that sweet spot. My job is about providing options to post and being able to hand over the best radio mic sound as well as the best boom sound, right? So basically I take those options and I'm handing them over to the post-production workflow so that they can sit there in an incredible sounding room and kind of go to town on making them sound even better. I've found in the past that you might be using a certain type of lav and a certain type of boom, and there's no coherence. They don't cut together very well. What's so great about DPA is you can have a 4061 in a prime position on an actor, and it sounds great on its own. It sounds close and dry and full, and then you can have a 4018 or a 4017 on the boom, and on its own sounds beautiful. You've got this big full-bodied sound, and then being able to be in a very fortunate position to find a sweet spot where you can mix those two things together. They're kind of greater than the sum of their parts.